Kalonzo Musyoka. Lots and lots of reeds.
Joyce Lusinde, Emmanuel Kones, Dennis Giteru, Emmanuel Kiprotich, Emmanuel Mwema, Nancy Mgoi, Julia Grace Mwaneki.
My name is Jean Bahati, Catherine Bwire's daughter, who lost her sight in the bomb blast and was on the 13th floor of Cooperative House. She was 7 months pregnant at the time of the bomb blast, and I was born 2 months later. My mother has never seen me. My father left my mom and took everything with him. I have not gone to college. I am left taking care of mom, yet my age mates have completed college and are working. My life is on a standstill, and this burden has become so hard for me, bringing depression. Getting basic needs, school fees, medication has been a problem. I was born with convulsions and poor eyesight. Whenever I collapse, mom does not know how to give me first aid. We have been stigmatized. Nimepewa majina mbaya. Familia yetu iko na mkosi. Watu wanaona nikiassociate nao nitawaletea mkosi kwa familia yao. I am worried and fear for my future life. I do not have friends and relatives wametusaidia mpaka wamechoka na mashida zetu. I have sought for employment in the government. No one has considered me, and yet my mother got injured and lost her sight working for the government. Akaumia akiwa kwa kazi. Sasa kama who are we supposed to run to atusaidie kama serikali hata hawataki kutuona? I humbly request the Kenyan government, the American government, to give compensation to the bomb blast victims so that they can get the closure that they need.
Mwilu was a good friend to many. I have a lot to say about the person I lost in the attack, because 25 years later, this incident still feels fresh. And I know I'm not the only one here who feels this way. In this crowd are my fellow widows who lost their husbands. I see widowers who lost their wives. I see children who lost their parents. I also see those who survived the attack.
The consortium is made up of persons who were affected by the bomb blast. It conducts this function by coordinating with various stakeholders to advance the objective of pursuit of justice and having the goal of securing compensation for the victims. The consortium commenced on a journey to drum support for compensation by having prayers, lighting of candles, and laying of flowers on the grounds of the former U.S. Embassy building, which is now the Peace August 7th Memorial Park, where we are sitting today. The prayers have been taking place every 7th of the month from January of this year, and we still continue. The objectives of the prayer gathering were to bring together all the families and survivors of the deceased and all those who were affected by the tragedy. The consortium believes that the efforts will bring to the attention of the world the great injustice and discriminatory practice by the United States government, which only compensated its own citizens, employees, and third-party contractors who were affected by the bombing. The consortium has also reached out to the Kenyan legislators through Honorable Senator Kavindu, and the Senate has passed a bill and formed an ad hoc committee which is working with the consortium, the lawyers, and the United States to come up with a formal way of compensating the Kenyan victims and survivors.
For nearly 4 years, it has been my privilege to represent the people of the United States and my colleagues at the embassy and across the US government as a member of the board of directors of the August 7th Memorial Park. And it's been really wonderful to work with everybody on the park. On a personal note, as a diplomat who began his career just weeks after the bombing, I started in September of 1998. I'm honored to join the board and everyone gathered here today in remembering the victims of the terrorist attacks in Nairobi, Kenya, and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania on August 7th. Our loved ones, family members, friends, and co-workers to whom this green and quiet park is dedicated. The August 7th Memorial Park offers a unique place to remember those lost 25 years ago and to reflect on their legacy. It supports a vibrant community dedicated to honoring the victims, the survivors, and everyone affected by the attacks by working each and every day to promote peace in our hearts and homes, our neighborhoods, our countries, and our planet, and ensure that the terrible events of 1998 never happen again. In the days following the bombings, attacks intended to divide and disorient, Kenya and the United States forged an even stronger relationship, uniting in our focus to find the survivors and aid the injured. In the weeks and years that followed, we rebuilt together, establishing this memorial park and cementing our strong security partnership that continues to protect us all today. In the decades that followed, we've exchanged the experience and expertise to benefit our people and make the world safer through improving healthcare, food security, inclusive economic opportunities, and so much more.
I want to urge that the day also be a day to celebrate those who departed. You have memories of them as families and friends. It's a day to reflect on their lives. For the survivors, it's a day to thank God that indeed you survived and lived to tell the tale. It is also a day to ask, has justice been done to the survivors and to the families of the departed? 25 years on, still waiting for compensation. I'm aware that some form of support was given to some families, 173, if my records are correct, of the victims, and which came from USAID. But I'm also aware that there's been ongoing battle in the US courts for compensation of the victims who are non-Americans. I'm more aware about the Kenyan case. And I've been reflecting this morning and asking, what could we have done better as a country, as government, because there was a period I was in government, what could we have done better to expedite compensation for the victims? What could the US government have done better? Yes, we are friends. What could we have done as friends to ensure that there is closure for the victims? It's better late than never. Apart from the court battle, I think that a time has come when the two governments must sit together and see what can be done. It is not enough to say the matter is in court. Both governments have a responsibility. As has been aptly said here, Kenya took the bullet on behalf of the US. We cannot continue waiting for justice for the victims. May this be the year that the victims of this terrible crime finally have closure and have their compensation.
These attacks were a reminder of the devastating consequences of terrorism and importance of international teamwork of the face of hardship. 224 people were killed and thousands more injured. In Nairobi, 213 people lost their lives. 500 people were wounded. The bombings claimed the lives of hundreds of innocent people and injured thousands more. These attacks serve as a reminder that no country is immune to the threat of terrorism, and that we must remain vigilant in our efforts to prevent such acts from happening again. Ladies and gentlemen, the attack brought many casualties who were pedestrians and motorists in the crowded streets of Nairobi. Vehicles caught fire, persons were blinded, hundreds of Kenyans were orphaned, many Kenyan women were widowed, many suffered miscarriages and complications. The victims suffered effects of post-traumatic stress disorders. They also sustained material, emotional, physical, and financial injury. In the aftermath of the bombings, we witnessed the resilience and the strength of the human rights, the human spirit. The Kenyan and international communities rallied together to provide aid, support, and comfort the affected. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been 25 years, and many of the Kenyan victims of the bomb blasts continue to seek compensation. We make reference to the US Victim Compensation Fund that was created in 2014. Our plea to the US government is to work on the proposal to Congress to initiate amendment through the US Victim of State-Sponsored Terrorist Act. We request consideration to make Kenyan victims eligible to participate in the US Victim Terrorist Compensation Fund. We as the Kenyan government fully appreciate the mutual benefit relations that the two countries have had for many years. This anniversary provides the opportunity for the US to further enhance its long-term commitment to Africa in the US-African relationship. We coordinate with the Ministry of Health to explore subsidized medical treatment for the surviving victims of the bomb blasts as we reflect on the event of 1998. Let us not only remember the lives of the lost, but also commitment
to promoting peace, understanding, and cooperation among the nations. Let us honor the memory of the victims by working tirelessly to prevent such senseless acts of violence and hatred from ever happening again.